Alright, so for this topic, find probabilities using combinations. This is when you're looking to find the probability when the order does not matter. Alright, so here's a situation where we want to find out how many different pairs we can make with Jim, Sarah, and Mike. Well, if we look at Jim, Jim can be compared with Sarah, or Jim can be paired with Mike. Okay. Then if we look at starting with Sarah, Sarah can be paired with Jim, and Sarah can be paired with Mike. We could also look at Mike and pair him with Jim. Could also pair Mike with Sarah. Now as we start to look at this, we've got Jim and Sarah here. But Sarah and Jim, that's the same group, it's just in a different order, so we don't count that. So we'll cross that one out. If we look at Jim and Mike, that's the same as Mike and Jim. So we're going to cross off this one here. Now if you look at Sarah and Mike, that's the same group as Mike and Sarah, so we don't double count it because it's the same group, so we're going to cross that out. Now if we count how many we've got now, we've got 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups. So we got 3 different pairs that we can create. A cola company decides to test 4 brands of soft drink. The different brands have been labeled A, B, C, and D. The company decides to compare each brand with the other brands by pairing different brands together. How many different pairs will result from selecting 2 different brands at a time? Well, if we look at brand A can be compared with B. Brand A could also be compared with C. Brand A could also be compared with D. If we look at brand B, that can be compared with A. Brand B can also be compared with C. Brand B can also be compared with D. If we look at brand C, that can be compared with A. C can be compared with B, and C can be compared with D. If we look at brand D, that can be compared with A. D can be compared with B, and D can also be compared with C. As we start looking at this now, we've got brand AB, which is the same as BA. They're just in different orders. The group's not different, so we're going to cross off one of those because we're not going to count. We're not going to count it twice. If we look at AC, AC is the same thing as CA. Well, we're not going to count that twice, so we'll cross that one off. If we look at AD, AD is the same thing as DA. We're not going to count that twice, so we'll cross that one off. If we look at BC, BC is the same thing as CB. We're not going to count that twice, we'll cross one of them off. If you look at BD, it's the same thing as DB. Well, we're not going to count that twice, so cross one of those off. And then looking at CD, that's the same thing as DC, they're just in different orders, so we're not going to count that twice. Once we've eliminated those, we can then look at how many we do have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pairs.